I didn't expect balloons or cake. Not at my age. Not anymore. But I thought maybe a message, a call, a quick happy birthday before the day slipped past. Something small, something human. Instead, I opened the family group chat to 53 unread messages. None of them were for me. Blue or pink. Vote now. Guess what it is? We're having a girl. They even made a poll with gifts. I stared at the thread for a long time, thumb hovering over the screen like maybe the next swipe would change something. But it didn't. Just more confetti, more yay, and blessings, and baby emojis. My mother posted a video of herself popping the balloon with a gold pin. Pink powder filled the backyard. Everyone cheered. My name never came up once. It was 9:42 p.m. I turned off my phone. A few hours earlier, I had walked to the little Vietnamese bakery down the block and bought myself a cupcake. Coconut with cream cheese frosting. My favorite. I had it every year. Just one. I used to get a whole cake when I was younger, the kind with the sugar roses and my name piped in pastel cursive, back when I still had birthday parties in the living room with streamers and plastic forks, before they said I was too old for that, before they gave my birthday to her. My younger sister, Elise. She was born 3 days before my birthday. My 9th, 1. I remember the moment vividly. The hospital, the nurses clapping, and me clutching a coloring book in the waiting room with a forgotten juice box. The year I stopped mattering. Ever since then, it was Elise's birthday weekend. Let's just combine it, they'd say. She's the baby, come on. You're not one for attention anyway. They were right. I wasn't. I faded. Learned how to tuck my feelings into quiet corners. I became the one who didn't need much. The easy one. The helper. I paid attention to everyone else's needs, so they didn't have to pay attention to mine. But this year felt different. Not because it was a milestone. It wasn't. Just another ordinary year. Only lonelier. This was the first time no one even pretended to remember. Not even a, sorry we were busy, at the end of the night. Nothing. Just gender reveal videos and pastel pink smoke, lighting up a yard I wasn't invited to. I lit the candle on the cupcake alone. It was from the drawer. One of those old waxy tea lights that smell faintly of birthday parties gone by. I didn't even bother turning off the lights. Just sat at the edge of my bed with the candle flickering under the ceiling fan, casting a trembling little shadow onto the blank wall behind it. I made a wish, but I don't remember what it was. Maybe I just wished to be forgotten all the way. Because halfway is worse. Half seen, half loved, half there. The cupcake was too sweet. I couldn't finish it. The next morning, Mom called. I stared at the name on my screen, heart pausing mid-beat. Maybe she remembered. Maybe she felt it. That tug in the gut when something slips past you that shouldn't have. Maybe she realized. The silence. The empty square on the calendar. Maybe she opened Facebook and saw the date. "Hi, sweetheart," she said brightly. "Did you see the video?" I waited. Paused. Swallowed. "Yes," I said. "Wasn't it the cutest thing?" "Mm-hmm. Elise is over the moon." "Oh, and the baby's due the same week as your birthday. Isn't that crazy?" She laughed. I didn't. "You'll be birthday twins," she added like it was a blessing, like it was a gift. I said nothing. and she didn't notice, not even when I hung up without saying goodbye. The next morning, I didn't get out of bed right away. There was nowhere to be, no one waiting. My work laptop blinked in the corner of the room, notifications piling up behind the screensaver. I left it there. Still. Quiet. Like me. The candle wax from last night had hardened on the dresser, a pale, waxy puddle clinging to the glass plate I used for everything. Breakfast, dinner, candlelight grief. I didn't clean it. I liked the mark it left, proof that something had once burned for me. Later, I scrolled back through the group chat. The messages kept going. Aunt Rosa sent a photo of the reveal cake, split down the middle, vanilla with pink buttercream. "Elise deserves everything," she wrote. Uncle Matt added, "This baby is already so lucky." My mom posted 3 blurry pictures of Elise wiping her eyes while holding the balloon remnants. The caption read, "My heart, never. Seen her so happy, so grateful for family." That last word, family, landed differently. Funny. It didn't include me anymore. Not really. I tried to remember the last time I was in one of those photos. A holiday, maybe. Christmas 3 years ago, when I baked the ham and bought the folding chairs and drove all the way home in a rental car because mine had broken down. I'd arrived with flour still on my sleeves and an aching back. They didn't save me a seat that year either. I wasn't always the outsider. At least I don't think I was. There are photos from when we were kids, me in oversized overalls, holding Elise like she was a new doll. I used to braid her hair for school, even when mine was still knotted from the night before. I used to read to her in my room when she had nightmares, tiptoeing past Mom and Dad's door because "don't wake them, you'll just get yelled at." I protected her, even from our own parents. But the older we got, the more that love turned lopsided. Elise sparkled. She bloomed in a way I didn't know how to. She learned to laugh at the right moments, tilt her head just enough, cry gently, smile wide. People adored her for needing things. They praised me for not needing anything at all. I closed the group chat. It didn't hurt anymore, not in the sharp, immediate way. It just sat there, humming, like an old bruise you forget until you bump it again. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I opened my photo album. Not the phone one. The real one. The one I kept in the shoebox under my bed, buried beneath receipts and expired warranties, and a letter I wrote to myself at 17 but never mailed. The album smelled faintly of dust and lemon cleaner. I flipped past the baby, photos, the birthday parties. The summer at the lake when I wore that too big sun hat and Elise smeared ice cream on my shirt. Our parents had laughed. I hadn't. Page after page, the photos changed. I disappeared from them slowly. First pushed, to the corner, then behind the camera, then not at all. By the time Elise hit her 20s, it was like I had become the one who dropped by. The "can you grab some ice?" sibling. The one asked to take the photos, not be in them. That night, I deleted the family group chat. No message. No, I'm done. Just gone. It was a small act, quiet, but I felt it. Like gently closing a window after too many nights in the cold. I didn't owe them my watching anymore. I didn't owe them my silence either. I didn't mean to go silent, not in a dramatic way. It started as space, a little more time before, replying. a little less energy to feign warmth. I muted my mother's contact. I archived Elise's messages. Every conversation we had felt like performance art, and I was tired of auditioning for a part I never wanted. 2 days after my birthday, Elise texted me a photo of a tiny pink onesie with the words, "Best aunt ever," stitched across the chest, in sparkly thread. "Can't wait for you to meet her, you'll spoil her rotten." I stared at the message for a long time. The words weren't cruel. They were sweet. Generic. Easy to send. I never replied. I began noticing how much of my life I had arranged around them. Subtly, quietly, the way I always scheduled my holidays to go home, the way I stayed up late helping Elise apply to college, only for her to choose a different major at the last minute without telling me. The way I co-signed Mom and Dad's second car loan and never brought it up again, even after they forgot to invite me to the dealership pickup. I thought I was building a bond. Turns out, I was just patching their holes with my silence. Remember a winter a few years ago. Elise had just broken up with a guy she swore was the one. She came to my apartment unannounced, sobbing, mascara smeared like war paint. I made her tea. I gave her my bed. I listened. I even called in sick to work just to sit with her while she watched sad movies on my couch for 3 straight days. When she left, she hugged me and whispered, "You're the only one who gets me." And then she never mentioned it again. Not even when people later asked who helped her through that time. "I just needed space," she'd say. I journaled a lot. A week passed. Then 2. No one asked why I hadn't said anything about the gender reveal, or why I hadn't called, or even liked the posts. I watched my mother tag Elise in another story. "Baby girl already so loved shower planning starts. Now!" I watched the comments flood in. Cousins, neighbors, friends of friends. "Can't wait to be there. She's glowing. When's the shower?" I closed the app and opened a new tab. I searched. "Can you RSVP no to a baby? Shower without giving a reason?" I didn't want to be cruel. I didn't want to make it about me, but I also couldn't pretend anymore. Not when every celebration came at the expense of forgetting I even existed. That night, I went through my budget. I'd been saving for years. Small amounts, tucked away in a second account. I always told myself it was for emergencies, but deep down I think I knew it was for something else. A quiet escape fund, a plan B. For when being their plan A finally broke me, it wasn't much. But it was enough. I made a decision, still half-formed, but real. This year, I wouldn't go home. Not for the shower, not for the birth, not even for the holidays. No big announcement, no confrontation, just distance, a sacred thing. They wouldn't even notice, I told myself, but maybe they would. Maybe silence would echo louder than my presence ever did. I started unplugging things, not literally at first, but emotionally, yes. The first to go was the family calendar, a shared Google Doc where everyone logged birthdays, anniversaries, school events. I used to update it religiously. Color-coded reminders, hyperlinks to gift lists, RSVP links. Elise's baby shower had 3 entries. I opened it one morning and deleted my own birthday. Then I removed myself as an editor. No one noticed. Next was the storage bin under my bed. It used to be filled with sentimental things I told myself I'd pass on someday. Baby clothes I wore in old photos. A charm bracelet Elise gave me when we were still friends and not just sisters. Cards from our grandmother. even an old book of lullabies with "To My Girls" written in our mother's handwriting. I held on to them because I believed memories were evidence. But what good is proof in a house that doesn't believe you existed? I packed the box tighter, taped it shut, and took it to Goodwill the next morning. The withdrawal was subtle, but it began to clear space in my life. I started reading again, walking more, sleeping without waiting for notifications. A new rhythm emerged. Small, steady, mine. I stopped checking the family group texts altogether. Not that there were many directed at me. Mostly just shower logistics, venue discussions, diaper brand polls. One evening my mother finally called. "Are you okay?" she asked. "You've been quiet." Her voice held concern. Not worry. Just that vaguely irritated kind of concern that shows up when something stops working the way it used to. "I'm fine," I said. Pause. "I just figured you'd be more excited," she added. "Excited about what?" "The baby." Another pause. "I am," I lied. "I hope it's everything Elise wants." The baby shower invitation came a week later. A pink envelope, glitter along the edges, printed on thick cardstock. My name was misspelled. A sharp laugh escaped me before I could catch it. It wasn't even angry. Just tired, like my name was the last thing they remembered. And even then, not enough to spell it right. Inside, there was a note from Elise. "You have to be there. It wouldn't be the same without you." I held that card for a long time, ran my fingers along the embossed lettering, tucked it back into the envelope, then slid it under a pile of old magazines and forgot where I left it. That was the day I realized something important. They still saw me, not as a person with a story, or pain, or boundaries, but as part of the decoration, someone who filled the space, who clapped at the right time, who brought a decent gift and left without making a mess, a polite presence, a backdrop. So I did the only thing that made sense. I RSVP'd, no reason, no excuse. Just one clean word, declined. After I clicked decline, I stared at the screen for a long time. I expected something to happen, a flood of guilt or maybe fear. But all I felt was stillness, like when a fridge hums for hours and then clicks off, and only then do you realize how loud it had been. I didn't owe them a performance, not this time. A week passed, then 2. The baby shower went ahead. I saw the pictures, of course. My cousin tagged me in a group shot by mistake. A backyard decked in pink and white, paper flowers strung between trees. Elise stood under a balloon arch, hands on her belly, glowing the way only attention can make someone glow. They used my favorite cake place. I had recommended it years ago, back when I was still the one organizing birthdays and baking extras just in case someone didn't RSVP. I'd even made Elise's favorite flavor once, lemon lavender, before she knew what it was. Now it sat on a table in the background of a photo I wasn't in. She wore a sash, a tiara. My mother beamed beside her. Everyone I knew was there. No one asked where I was. The silence hardened in me like clay, not bitter, just firm. I stopped volunteering information. No more texts about what I was working on. No more updates about the small promotion I received. I used to send links to things I thought Elise would like, podcasts, articles, recipes. I used to try. Now, I let the space grow. I watched spring arrive quietly through the window, green spilling into the branches outside my apartment. The weather softened. My walk stretched longer. I started carrying a little notebook with me, writing things I wanted to remember. Not to post, not to tell anyone, just to remember for myself. Like, the girl at the coffee shop wears glitter eyeliner on. Mondays, the smell of basil in the stairwell from someone's cooking. How good it felt to cancel a phone call and keep reading instead. Elise called me 2 weeks after the shower. "Hey," she said. "I just realized you never came." I didn't answer right away. "I really thought you would," she added. "You always come." That part made me pause. Because she was right. I always came. To her recitals, to her panic attacks, to her birthday dinners, even to the engagement party they forgot to formally invite me to. I came, smiled, brought a gift. I always showed up when they didn't know they were breaking me. "I'm sorry," I finally said. I had something else I needed to do. There was a beat of silence. Oh, not anger, not sadness, just confusion, like I'd broken an unspoken rule, that I, the dependable backdrop, had stepped out of frame. "I just thought we were closer than that," she said softly. "We were," I said. "Or maybe I just worked really hard to make it feel that way." She didn't reply, and I didn't fill the silence. A few days after that call, I received a package. No, note. Just a pink candle shaped like a baby bottle and a small glass jar of bath salts. Elise's handwriting on the label. For my favorite aunt, I placed it on the kitchen counter and left it unopened. It stayed there for a week, then 2. Eventually I moved it to the back of a drawer. Not out of spite, just to make room for things I actually use. My apartment is small. I don't have space for things that ask to be cherished without earning it. The more distance I gave myself, the more I noticed how much I'd been folding my life into theirs. I used to think that was love. Now I think it was survival. Being useful made me visible. Being available made me tolerable. Being silent made me safe. But now, with the air clear around me, I saw the outlines of a different life. One with edges, boundaries, gaps that didn't need to be filled just because they were empty. One evening, I walked into a bookstore near my apartment. The kind with creaky floors and handwritten staff picks tucked under the shelves. I hadn't bought a book in months, maybe longer. Everything I read lately had been recommended by someone else. Things I felt I should read. Stories that made me feel like a footnote. This time, I wandered until something called to me. A slim novel with a worn spine, second-hand. The title was faded. I don't even remember what drew me to it. Maybe just the quietness of it. The way it felt like someone else had once held it and left something behind. I bought it without thinking. And for once, I didn't tell anyone. I read it that night with a cup of tea and my feet tucked under me, alone, but not lonely. The apartment was silent. The good kind of silence. The kind that isn't punishment, but peace. A week later, my mother left a voicemail. "Hi, sweetheart," she said. "Just checking in. Elise said you've been a little distant." She paused. "I know you've always been independent, but family's important, okay? And the baby's due soon. I hope you'll be around. It would mean a lot to her." She didn't ask how I was. She didn't say she missed me. She didn't remember why I might be distant at all. I deleted the message halfway through. Later that night, I stood in the shower longer than usual, letting the water hit the base of my neck until the heat flushed my skin. I thought about what it means to not be needed anymore, to stop bending toward a place that never learned to hold you. And instead of pain, I felt something steadier, something like returning to myself. Not all the way, but enough. The jar of bath salts cracked the second time I bumped it. It slipped from the back of the drawer when I opened it too quickly, rolled off the edge, and landed with a sharp thud against the tile. The glass didn't shatter, just fractured cleanly, across the bottom. A quiet, clean break. I stared at it for a long time. The pink crystals shimmered inside, perfectly preserved, sealed shut, useless now. I didn't pick it up, just stepped over it, left it there. Spring turned into early summer. Elise's due date crept closer. The family group thread, the one I had remasked in my inbox just to monitor from a distance, grew louder again. Photos of the nursery, a soft gray glider someone bought from her registry, pink ribbons on the crib rails, my mother's captions, blooming with pride. Our first grandbaby, can't wait to hold her. The nursery is ready. We're so lucky. My name was never mentioned. I wasn't surprised. At night, I sat near the window with a glass of water and let the breeze lift the curtains. It was a small thing I started doing, almost like a ritual, just watching the world move without me. A couple walking their dog, kids skating in the half-lit street, a woman smoking alone on her balcony, her silhouette framed by yellow lamplight. Never used to notice those things. I was too busy being the girl who showed up for everyone else. Now I let the quiet unfold around me. And in that silence, I started building something I had always given away too freely. Presence for myself. With myself. One afternoon, I received an email from my mother. Subject line: need your help. Again. She wanted me to stay with Elise the week after the birth. She'll need help adjusting, the message said, since you're not working, that week anyway. Just for a few days. There was no, would you like to? No, how are you? Just expectation, tucked neatly into assumption. They had never asked how I coped with being alone on my birthday, but they assumed I'd be available when they finally decided to remember I existed, as a utility. I didn't reply. Not right away. Instead, I clicked open the travel tab I'd bookmarked months ago, the one I'd stared at for weeks before closing every time guilt crept in. This time I clicked confirm. 3 nights, coastal town, small bed and breakfast, no family, no baby, just a worn paperback, sea air, and silence that belonged to me. I emailed my mother back. I won't be available that week. Hope everything goes well. No apology, no explanation, just a sentence, a boundary. Later that night, I took out the trash and finally scooped up the jar with the cracked bath salts. The glass was cool in my hand. I placed it in the bin with care. Not in anger, but in ending. The baby was born on a rainy Tuesday. I found out through a Facebook post. Not a message, not a call, just a square photo in my feed. Elise in a hospital bed, glowing and flushed. My mother beside her, already, cradling the child. Pink cap, wrinkled fists, eyes closed. Her name was Eloise. I stared at it for a moment. It was beautiful, Soft, musical, too close to Elise, too far from me. They didn't tag me in the post. They didn't even mention me. Just a cascade of comments. Ooh. Looks just like her mama. Such a lucky baby. She's going to have the best aunt in the world. I didn't respond. I didn't like the post. And for the first time, the guilt didn't come crawling after me, asking if I'd forgotten how to be good. I spent the next 3 days by the sea. The bed and breakfast was small, just 4 rooms, with salt in the air and ivy on the gate. The woman who ran it gave me a key and a warm hello, but didn't ask why I was alone. I think she could tell I liked it that way. I walked the cliffs every morning, read books with bent spines, let my phone stay face down. The world didn't end without me. It just kept spinning, quieter. On the last evening, I sat on a bench overlooking the water, wrapped in an old scarf. The sky was streaked in amber, the tide folding itself into the rocks like it was tucking itself in. A couple passed behind me, holding hands, soft laughter trailing behind them like a song. I didn't envy them. I didn't ache. I just sat with myself, whole, unremarkable, enough. Before bed, I wrote a letter. Not to send, just to say what needed saying. Dear Elise, I used to think love meant giving everything without asking for anything back. I used to think showing up was proof that I mattered. But I was wrong. I was never invisible. You just never learned how to see me, and I can't teach you anymore. I wish your daughter better. I hope she feels chosen, even when she doesn't need to be. I'm done being the lesson. I'm finally learning me. I folded it into my journal. No stamp, no address, just release. I never told anyone I didn't go to the hospital. No announcement, no speech. I just lived, in quiet, intentional peace. Let them tell the story their way. Let them say I grew distant. Let them call me the quiet one, the helper who drifted. Let them wonder why I stopped showing up. Maybe someday they'll realize I didn't leave out of hate. I left out of healing.